Raging Blasters came out a year ago on the Switch, but only in Japan. Then one fateful Sunday morning, here it pops up, Magic. So I'm going to play it. There are 3 difficulty modes: normal, which is easy; hard, which is normal; and expert, which is this. It's translated into various European languages. Here is the only bit of story. We need to go out and shoot things. Why? Because we've been told to. Fine, let's go. Good luck. First thing to talk about is the presentation. This is a vertical shmup, so only using half the screen, but the borders are actually part of the level. I can't go fully to the left or to the right, but it looks nice and it's a very nice detail. So what's happening here? This is Raging Blasters, a vertical shmup made by Terrorin Games, an indie developer out of Japan. In terms of other games on the Switch, there's Gemini Arms and also Missile Dancer. Then on Steam, there's also Moon Dancer. Interesting, indie affairs, nice for a quick go, and priced as such. And I hate this wave and hate the fact that it's so early on. It can often mean an early reset, but we go on. I'm playing on expert today because I started on hard and beat it on my second play, so certainly if you have experience in shmups, don't play normal, but if you're a shmup newbie, play normal, because you'll notice here that there are plenty of what we nicely call revenge bullets. If I kill most of the flying enemies, then they will release one final bullet in my general direction, which is going to cause some very tight moments and is a feature which is exclusive to expert mode, which probably explains how I survived hard mode so easily, because take away the revenge bullets and there's not much. So, this is a vertical shmup which is effectively based on waves. Take care of one wave of the enemy, then another wave of a different enemy will follow. With that in mind, there's a fair bit of repetition in that within one stage you'll fight against the same wave multiple times, but the ordering of the waves will be slightly different. They do follow each other quite quickly though, as you can see. If I beat the entirety of the wave, I'm given crystals. If I don't die before the end of the stage, then I get a nice bonus for these crystals. If I do die though, I lose them and therefore a good chunk of points. And here are some explosions. Need to get them out of the way because the explosions linger ever so slightly. And here we start to play with combinations of waves, which means it's a bit tricky dodging the bullets and the fire at the same time. So this is a 3-button game, kind of. My first button shoots 6 streams of bullets directly in front of me, and that's what I'm going to use for the most of the time. The second button moves the streams so that I can shoot diagonally. My secondary weapon shoots automatically regardless of which of the 2 buttons I use, and the third button is to control speed, but that's not something I'm going to use. Warning, our first mini-boss. For nearly every stage there is a mini-boss and a boss. In terms of design, they're mostly the same caliber, and sometimes a mini-boss is more difficult. The patterns used are the same as hard mode, and as you can see, most of the bullets in the center are destructible. I just need to avoid the pink bullets. It will sadly be a common complaint in this run, that having so many destructible elements ruins the fun. Great. Visually impressive, mechanically not so much. Onwards. Sub-weapons. This is where I begin my comparison with Alesta, mostly GG Alesta as will be seen in the second stage, but also in the sub-weapons selected and how they become a nuisance. I still hate this wave. It's playing chicken and dodging at the last moment, or they follow you. So there are plenty of sub-weapons to choose from. Laser gives the best damage and can go through a boss's attempt to block. Fire does the same as napalm in GG Alesta. Any bullets caught in an explosion disappear, perfect for revenge bullets. Homing does exactly what it says on the tin. It's not as strong, but perfect for getting hard to reach enemies. Ring is like the defense ring. 2 satellites move around you and remove any bullets which are met in its path, and I find it to be the mostly useless, but I'll use it in stage 3. So many Triforces, Kamikaze Pilots, another. Really, you need to take them all out before they get to the bottom despite the barrage of bullets. Wave now, and as we saw earlier, can be a good weapon for lower difficulty levels. It offers a good range, but not so much damage for head-on. And we're nearing the boss, just one final set of waves to deal with. Admire the view on the background. You've seen the entirety of the story, so I don't know if that's Earth or not. And here comes warning, for real this time. And what will be the very first end boss of the very first stage out of the 8 in total? It's a platform on rails. Kind of reminds me of a suitcase handle, but with destructible bullets and missiles. I've got to admit, the first time that I played this I got scared by the movement, thinking that it would crush me, and that's really as low as it will go, so the tip for this boss is just to sit in the middle and shoot, and that's it. As long as you stay in the center, the lasers won't touch you. There's no other real danger since the rest can be shot down, just don't get too close. And done. As you can see on the right, score is important. Fully extend the next life, and I should reach 400k for my first extra life. There it is. Woohoo! On to the next stage. And now for the cheese. Pro tip, the first two waves can be dodged by staying in the bottom left hand corner, because right now I don't have the tools to deal with the revenge bullets of these waves, but thankfully they don't shoot, so I can just let them do their little dance and fly by. Here is a warning sign, which means I have to start pew-pewing. It flies past and aims the turret. First shot is fine, and then to the other side for the same. And this is what I want: fire with another gunship. This pattern will appear a few times, and because it's nearly the same order, it's incredibly easy. I tend to sweep from one side to the other for these guys, always twice in a row, and we go next. Fire is important because I can shoot directly in front of me, and since revenge bullets are aimed directly at me, it means that they will go straight down. So the next time that I go against the dancing flies doing their mating ritual, I will stay front and center and just shoot directly ahead, safe in the knowledge that the fire will consume all the bullets that head my way. Here is the first use of the diagonal shot button, and I really wasn't committed. Bye bye guys. Another gunship round, two at the side, one at the center, with the warning signs, nothing to worry about. And now we can talk about the combo bar. I'm not much of a score player. This run is ranked 18th on the global leaderboard with a final score of 3 million, and the best score is currently 10 million. I have no idea how, no video exists, but I imagine we're dealing with Dodonpachi super level of chaining, warning, first mini boss, and it's a bit of a spoiler for what comes next. Again, only thing you need to worry about are the pink bullets, which will go around in the circle, and the gaps are quite generous, but if you're like me, you need to pay attention to reposition slightly. There's no concept of phases for this, just wash, rinse, repeat. Everything else is destructible, and we're going to have a little bit more because I was talking ever so too quickly. Great. Okay, where were we? Combo bar. Left hand side. Basically, keep on shooting things and the counter goes up. Higher the counter, higher the bonus, and when this chain ends, and because there are several waves before the go next, it means that the chain will break multiple times during the level because the timer between hits is incredibly small. Look at that bar dwindle. But you can also see the history of the score, and you can see that the combo has an effect on the score by incrementing the number given. We're not talking about huge amounts of gains here. Most of the score will be given by the chain bonus at the end. Then we have these guys. Destroy these and you'll get a bonus of 10,000 points. We've got to be quick though to get them all, and having a weak weapon is detrimental. There will be a few enemies along the way that will give a bonus points for destruction with a max of 50,000 points, and as you can see, my magnificent cheesing with the fire. One, two. Even for the hardest difficulty, extra lives are quite generous, a little under 1 game per level. Warning, Dodonpachi ship that I can only hit from behind, which means it'll get a bit interesting with that knowledge. Here it comes, and go. GJLS the free Stingray boss attack, and here it comes again, with bullets in multiple directions. Just need to learn where to go, it never changes. Off again. I believe the direction it swoops down can be random. There it goes, left hand side, more Stingray attacks, and now back to the front and the center with spirals of pink bullets, and... is it going to come back? Yes, it's going to come back. One last attack, one last spiral, and done. Probably my favourite boss, that one. Shame it's so early. And how many points are we going to have? There we go, 750k. Next stage. We keep the fire burning because the first part of the stage is very much how we left off the last. But first, two very nice robots that will greet us with rockets, and then off they go. So now, lots of magnificent space mating rituals. I would say that I wish them best of luck in their future endeavours, but I'm in the process of blowing them up. Oops. A lovely repeating cityscape down below that reminds me maybe Cowboy Bebop, maybe Macross, probably many more. Oh well, go next. And yet another shoot 'em up game where I have to talk about R-Type, or maybe Thundercross. I really need to find out who did it first. So I have this written on my wall now. Since R-Type in 1987, it's become a bit of a trope. Instead of having a normal stage full of enemies, they decided instead to have a giant ship to take part, piece by piece, and here is ours. And it's the only time I will use the ring because we whiz past the turrets and the flying saucers which come out of the side. I also rely heavily on a diagonal shot to try and fail to take care of most of the turrets. Their bullets are destructible, so it's okay, but it's a shmup. Silly things happen. The ring gives me that extra level of comfort. The game only wants me to use that or the homing anyway for this level. All others would be a bit silly considering the enemies are at the site. There's not much variety, but we're nearly at the end of the first half. And after these flying saucers and this final turret, and at the crest of the wave, we're met with 2 other friendly robots with their incredibly friendly missiles that follow me and go plop after a while, but clearly I'm lost. Maybe if I go back, I can then re-find my way. Each power-up is worth 1,000 points, so worth picking up repeats as I near 800k for the next extra life, which seems like an eternity away as I repeat the same thing, but just in the other direction. It's hard to explain why having to go backwards is so troubling in a shmup. I guess it's a bit like being in a train against the direction of travel. Eventually, I will need to prepare for the boss and take the homing attack. It'll make sense eventually. Definitely not the laser, that'd be silly. Not entirely sure why it's offering that. Okay, and 1 ring. And there we go for the extra life, and now begins a long wait for 400k more points for the next. But in the meantime, more turrets. I have my homing missiles ready for the final boss. And it goes away, its mechanical metaphorical tail between its mechanical metaphorical legs. But it's not quite boss time. We need some more dancing to entertain us while they cook up the next course. If I had the ring, this would be catastrophic because of the guaranteed revenge bullets. Make sure to get rid of that before this section. And warning. It's the guy from the last stage, just slimmed down with more protection. And this was the most difficult part of the game for me, figuring out how to do this effectively. Then I had an idiotic realization: diagonal shots. And that's also why homing is so important, because it doubles the damage for each round. A little pause, cannons at the side, what can that mean? Okay, we're doing this. You spin me right around, baby, right round like a record, baby, right round, and repeat. The lasers will always spin anti-clockwise first, a little bit more, and we are done. Great. Off we warp. Remember those few asteroids we had in level 1? Maybe not, I never mentioned them. But now I will. There are asteroids here, lots of them, and they are a bit of a nuisance. Not so fast, Finn. First of all, there are normal enemies to take care of. And now, so I need to dodge the enemies, their revenge bullets, and also try not to slam into an asteroid. Yes, we have gone back into the 70s. Of course, the big ones break up into little ones, thankfully not into random directions. That would be absolutely terrifying. But not anymore, because I've got my fireball and I'm going to play this so very safe. There is no reason for me to move because the enemies come straight into the center. Any asteroids that come to me come straight down, so I don't need to move for them either. I did need to move back then, but now I'm in the center and I do need to move out of the way for the power-ups, which are now a nuisance, and will be a bit of a nuisance with the bosses to come. Like GG and Lester, I've chosen my favourite for each stage, and nothing will convince me otherwise. I always think these guys give me bonus points, but no. You can also start to see how the patterns were made more for co-op play. There are certain moments when I can't really destroy everything on the screen, but if I had a friend, sadly no. So I choose a side and destroy what I can, which was not a lot. And we are coming now for the mini-boss time, and it's the worst one of all. It's the tentacle monster. Ideally, I'd have the laser beam, but this is fine too. Look, tentacles, swirling tentacles, and now they're gone. Now for the worst attack of all, so I'll abuse the fire. More tentacles. I don't like that how this is going, but it's okay. It's not going to go on for too much longer. Great. So we continue. Stay in the center and fire away. Pew pew. Pew pew pew. Okay, I go a bit to the left, and if it's slightly to the left, then the next is slightly to the right. And now we have it at the same time. I'll pick a side and wish I had a friend. This moment is a good highlight of when co-op is expected, so I can only kill 2 of the 3. I'm picking up the laser now because there is a boss coming. And this is a shifting robot. It's very much like the first boss for the first part in that I just have to stay at the front and shoot. Lasers to the side, but it's okay, I'm not going anywhere. And now I just have to remain as long as possible. Yes, there will be a warning. And off I go for rest for a bit. I can't damage it from behind, so really I'm just sitting here. And back we go, but not too fast. There are bullets. And now to do exactly the same again until the end. The most difficult part is dodging this power up here, and I have failed, but it's okay, we've won. And I have homing missiles. Stage done, halfway through. Do I have a 1-up? Let's find out in a second. Yes, I do. On to the next. Girders! Girders everywhere. Girders as far as the eye can see for this beautiful moony night in space. So this will be a bit interesting for the weapons, therefore I'm going to have to practice my shimmy skills. But these blocks are the last time I will use the ring. Yes, there are bonus points to be had. Now I want to get rid of it as quickly as possible. We're going to repeat this a few times, I feel. It's worth pointing out, like most indie shmups, this is all the work of only a handful of people at best. So you can forgive some of the recycling, but I can't forgive this form of waste disposal. It's been a long time since I've seen gravity, but I'm sure this can't be good. But we're now playing with fire again, so I'll stay in the middle, shimmying to one side to the other to fulfill my duty as a citizen of space and clear up a little bit. But there is quite a bit of repetition here, and the second half begins to drag slightly. Not to say it gets easier, not by any stretch of the imagination. It's still too easy to slam yourself into debris, for example, but it starts to get a little bit less interesting. Been there, done that, wish there was a t-shirt. Not enough shmup swag. And now we're going to have these enemies coming up from behind us, using a diagonal. And one last time we're going to repeat this section. This one is taking ever so slightly too long from behind. And now we get the mini-boss time. It is the warning. What could it be? Snake. It's a snake. I wish I had homing. Gonna stay here, shoot diagonal. He's gonna stop after a while, and I am going to get out of the way and then head back to the head and hope. Nope, that's not finishing. Maybe a little bit more. And there we go. A special bonus, 50,000 points and an extra life. And now for the second half of this construction-laden stage, which reminds me of the space tunnel level in GGLester 2. Yes, I won't leave it alone. We have pretty much the same thing. Yeah, the fundamental problem with this game is when you consider a shmup like a puzzle game. I said that during the only new part of this section. Each wave is its own little puzzle, but once you've solved it, there's very little variation or playing around with it. Yes, the order is sometimes different, but it's only once or twice that the developer thinks to combine these into interesting combinations. I recognise the first enemy, and my fingers do the rest. Weirdly enough, this is a similar complaint I had with Donut County. It had the elements to do something interesting, but then it just ended. So I make my own fun by using the laser, and now I am trapped, and now I'm going to use my diagonal shot. 50,000 more points, thank you very much. And now we have more bonus point enemies to make me think whether I can hit the 2 million before the end of the stage. Probably not, but let me dream. There was another, and now for more swooping, we come to the warning. I don't have a great weapon for this, but it will do. Diagonal shot all the way because we are now locked in prison. I need to destroy each section, which is why it would have been preferred. Having homing missiles is going to do a turn and shoot more green destructible bullets from 2 random opposing parts. Gotta move out of the way, but I can't help thinking of a mini Ikaruga at this point. The problem is that the front ones will be destroyed quickly, leaving the sides, which I only have a pea shooter to deal with. So I'm gonna take this ring, or not, in the mind of the runner. I have no idea what I'm doing. Maybe this weapon here will give me something. Yes, homing missiles, great. Well, that is fantastic to finish it off. And we are done. So all of this construction must have led somewhere, right? Let's go find out. It's a base. Looks like their base. Thankfully, more like Star Fox than GGLester, so no endless repeating corridors. I'm guessing this is technically endless as well, but at least without a screen transition. New enemies at the beginning, but now tried and tested. It's probably not the wisest of decisions, but I want to keep my homing missiles here for a couple of critical moments in the stage. Thankfully, the game is now back into its old ways, and while the hitbox is not visible, it is quite small. Not a pixel, but enough to weave. Here is why I've got my homing missiles and why I get horrible Gradius flashbacks, but that's a bit gentler, I think. go next? So, since I didn't mention them before, new guys. And these ones here shoot green projectiles, easy enough. I still wish I had a friend. The danger of homing missiles is that the revenge bullets come from everywhere, so I need to be a little bit more active than usual in my dodging. I forgot to say, like a Lester, there's a moment of invincibility when picking up items, unfortunately too short. And now we come to the warning. Mini-boss, and another reason why I've kept the homing missiles. I'm just going to stay here. It's going to shift from one side to the other, but I don't care. The cups are being moved at the speed of light. Now I care, but now I go back. My main shot takes care of the missiles, homing missiles the rest. One more, and it is done. Now we come to the second half, and this was really meant with co-op in mind. Right out of Danganronpa, evil drawers filled with missiles. Now back to the usual and more doors to open. What can be inside? Missiles. It's a nice gentle introduction, not much danger since the missiles can be shot down. A little bit of swooping, and now for almost the final proper use of my homing missiles. And more Gradius nightmares, just twisted 90 degrees. So, the final section. Go next. More cabinets to be shot down, but 2 at a time. I need a friend, but I don't have one, so I'll ignore the second half of the screen. And yet again, they come in 2 by 2, hurrah, hurrah. And we're going to repeat. The problem is, it's not hard, so stay in one place, shoot forward, done. Okay, I can try shooting diagonally, but I'm too weak to destroy all of them. And one more time for the road. Here we go, pew pew pew, straight ahead. Gonna give up on the diagonal. And now for the warning. And for the best and worst boss at the same time, the most and the least impressive, it is an octopus-ish thing with wavy arms, which will of course block my shots. Regretting a little not taking the laser beam, the green shots are the only thing which it fires, which means they're destructible, which means there's little danger, which means I can just sit back here and shoot. I would always wonder if it's possible to sneak up to the point up there and point blank it, but that's the problem with this game. There's no practice mode. And here I am 22 minutes in, I'm not repeating that just to risk it, so all ambition of a speedrun is now out the window. Sit back, relax, enjoy the tentacles, avoid the power-ups, especially the ring, and hopefully... now? Nope. How about now? Open your arms wide. There we go, great. Whew. Stage clear, we have 2 left. Let's go. Who likes refights? Good old-fashioned boss rush. I sure do. So here we are, the penultimate stage, 2 waves of enemies, then a boss. The first one is coming up, and it's the very first boss we met. Nothing's changed. I'm going to stay near the center and shoot away, and not point blank because of the green bullets needing destroying. Only the pink bullets are dangerous, but the gaps between them remain very, very generous, and we just have to wait a couple more seconds, a couple more waves, and there we go, great. So, 2 more waves of enemies. What have you got for me? I don't know, I'm too quick. Must remember to keep hold of the homing missiles, hate those enemies. Well, that was a good plan, because the next boss is the only one I need homing missiles for. Yep, this guy. Speedrun definitely out the window, and now there is a point where the bullets kind of sneak through the gap to hurt him when closed. Probably the only exploit I've seen in the game, but this damage rate is abysmal. Let's get ready to dance. One more time. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, right round, round, round. Done. And now we repeat. Where are my homing missiles? Oh, that's not good. Go away, ring. One more time. Is there anything good in this capsule coming up? And we're going to go for the other direction. Yes, it's homing missiles. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, right round, right round. Round, 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 round. Okay, now it should be quick. This is what should have happened at the very beginning. Okay, 1. And can I sneak a shot in? Oh, yes, great. Now I've got no real use for my homing missiles. Goodbye, my friends. You have served me well. And hello, lasers. And this should last me until the end of the game, except, well, first of all, we've got another boss. Transformers, robots in disguise, but I never give him time to transform correctly. Laser beams. Still not going anywhere. It's fine, I'll wait. And again, the real use for the laser, so I can add a bit more damage here before moving out of the way. And sit in the corner, contemplate the view. It's a mine level. Just a tunnel. Nice parallax though. Oh, whoa, forgot about the bullets. Okay, back here, front and center, avoid the ring. Please, yes. Oh, that is the best dodge of the game so far. Okay, great. Next. So, shockingly, I haven't died yet. What happens when I do? I lose my weapon, and that's it. There's no concept of power level, so I just grab the next power up and go on my way. I would miss that laser beam though, and on to the next mini boss, evil tentacle boss, but I can't kill it with fire this time, so I'm going to go after this to the side so I can avoid these bullets. This is not a speed run, we're fine. Now we can go back a pew more, but I need to be careful because of these swaying tentacles. They're back inside and we're done. Oh, the order is wrong and not all mini bosses or normal bosses are here, but we're halfway through the longest stage of the game. But I'm going to pick one side and that was it. 2 waves in one. Next boss, Snake. Again, I stay in the middle. One more round and I am going to shift to the side again. Back in to finish it off, and 50,000 more points. Nice. And we get flying saucers. Fine. This is now an interlude for me. And this boss here, go next, is a bit of a weird choice since it comes after the improved form. Oh well, the principle remains the same. Not much can really hurt me. Pink bullets are still generously spaced out. It sways from side to side. Everyone's content. But it's over. I really feel it's a missed opportunity to give some variety to these bosses. I hate these guys. I absolutely hate them. Even extra movement for the bosses. Make it slam to the ground because there's only one boss that has done that so far. Not the octopus here, but we get to see what the laser does for things. You can see its life bar go down ever so slightly when it's crossing its tentacles, and then a lot more when they're open. Unfortunately, still the most boring of bosses in this game, and a shame that we have to go through it all again versus, for example, the twins that are completely absent. But it's fine. Just a little bit more, and no, a little bit more, a little bit more, and we're done. Whew. And here is the final solo waves of the game. Breathe it in. Lots of Triforces. Destroy them before Ganon gets here. Hurry up, Link. Time to save the day. And the final boss of this boss rush, it is the Dodonpachi ship. I have a feeling this is slightly different versus the original, but not a great deal. Get out of the way. Out of the way of the telegraph storming attack. Now back to the center, through the bullets. And he's off yet again. Back down, and now he's going to camp there. I'm not going to risk damage during this attack. Do we have the telegraph bomb attacks? No, not yet. And oh no, I forgot about the bullets. And the first death of the run. Goodbye lasers, but here are some homing missiles. Back he comes. There's a telegraph bomb attack, front and center. Back I go. Can I finish in this phase? Yes, I can. And with that, it's the end of stage 7. 8 extra lives left. Let's try not to mess up the final stage, but I'll try. Final stage, there's the planet. What's the story? I have no idea. Let's assume we're here to save it, and here's a chance to pick up our power-up of choice, which I'll pick them all up for the points and laser to actually use. So here it is, the boss, first phase. I need to shoot in the middle, but there are lasers that don't like me doing that, so I'm going to alternate between direct and diagonal shots to get through this. The green destructibles can be an issue, but worst case I can wait this out, but I'm just a little bit impatient. And a little bit more once to the center. Nope, that's not going to work. And there we go, now it's the second phase, and positioning is the most important part here because I can't deal with the revenge bullets. Need to time my attacks, and that positioning was terrible. Goodbye laser, my sweet prince. Is it better this time? Yes it is. Why am I getting that power up? Oh no, I'm an idiot. Good thing I have enough lives. Okay, positioning. One last time. And this is how you can tell there's no cheating going on. I'm not taking that. Oh. Okay, here come a few power-ups on the other side, but you cannot tempt me. I'm going to sit here and dodge these pink bullets. Okay, third and final phase. It's a bit interesting, this one. The front is very well protected. It's going to start with an attack right in front of me, then slightly to the side. And now, it's going to start glowing. So I shoot away. I need to avoid these laser beams, but only for a short while. A bit closer this time, and it's a bit more dangerous, but it's going to repeat the same attacks. Now for the glow and a more dangerous pattern. I'm going to go back down after this, I think. No, I'm not. I'm going to go up and I'm going to die. Again, a place where I really wish there was a practice mode. The only way to repeat this level is to lose all your lives, but then that wouldn't be a 1cc. Okay, up it goes. I've got my laser back, so I'm hoping it will be smoother, and now we're going to repeat. And now there is a second phase. There's these molecules which are completely destructible. Otherwise, same thing. Direct, then to the side. That's a bit dangerous. Okay, down to the bottom. And one more time. To the right. To the left. And he's lost his clothes. Let's move here, and it's very nearly done. Just a little bit to go, and no, an extra phase, and it's finished. I get a 1-up. Great. And point. Yay! The planet is saved. Stage clear. And that was that. Raging Blasters, 1cc on expert difficulty, the hardest the game has to offer, and a score of over 3 million points. And do we get a final warp? Let's see. Off we go. And do we get a bit of story at the end? Yes we do. Mission complete. You have defeated all enemy targets. You have our utmost gratitude for completing this difficult mission. Through your heroic contributions, the war is something or other. Congratulations. I assume the war is won and peace will be brought to everyone, blah blah blah. And there I am taking a picture. I'm so proud of that. Oh, okay, so quite bare bones, but then we can talk about whether shmups need a story. But it sums up the game really, competently made but economical at points, particularly at the end. It's a game that I can recommend for those more towards the beginner side of the spectrum, but for experienced players it'll be over very very quickly, and while there is potential for score-based runs, it's not something which really entices me, so I think I will leave it there. Good game, not great, but I do look forward to what Terrorin has in store next. Thanks everyone for watching, till the next time. Bye bye!